All right, hello everyone, it's finally here. So, on today's video, I want to do a business review for the poultry farm that me and my friends started last year. So, I want to take you through the amount of money that was invested into the business. I'm going to do a cost breakdown of how that money was utilized for the business. I'm also going to touch on the amount of money that was generated for the business or from the business rather. So I'm going to speak on the revenue overall, and I'm going to touch on the expenses, that are a result of the actual business running. So I am going to touch only on 2024. So this is only a 2024 business review. So let us get into it. So when it comes to the income for the business is twofold. We've got the initial investment, which is 26,488. So this is the amount of money that we invested into the business throughout 2024. I'm going to speak on how that money was utilized for the business, and all in all, from the actual operations and the selling of eggs from the business, we were able to generate an income of 11,490 rands, which isn't really bad. So that accounts for about 30% of the overall income for the business for the year of 2024. So on here, I essentially just answer how this 26,000 was spent into the business. When we started out with this business, we figured it would be a good idea to have a phase approach. With the first phase, we used 8,500 rands, and this amount of money was used in building the chicken shed. This operation took us 3 months to plan for, so we employed someone to actually build this for us, and that cost is also included in the 8,000 rands. And with the second phase, we decided that we would buy the actual equipment for the chicken shed. We also bought chickens, and then we bought the feed and the packaging. So this was done around June 2024, and the chickens themselves only arrived in July, right? And then towards the end of the year, we sort of tried to emphasize our forces towards marketing and sales. So that is how the amount was essentially spread out throughout the year in terms of the investment. And then when it comes to the actual income, we were able to generate 11,490 rands for the year of 2024. So as I've said, this accounts for about 30% of the actual income, if you account for the initial investment that we put in. So we made, quite a good amount for the first 7 months of the business. So as I've mentioned before, we got our chickens in July, and then they started to lay towards the end of July. And even around that time, we had customers, and so that's how we generated our first 120 bucks. But when the new month started, which is August, that's when we saw an uptick on our revenue, and our revenue sort of stagnated given the fact that we only had a certain amount of chickens. We had 20 chickens, which produced a certain number of eggs, and that resulted in the revenue being the same there. And so we figured that we should probably invest in getting more chickens. So when we did that towards the end of September, we saw that by October we generated a higher revenue, and this was because the chickens that arrived in October started to produce more eggs, which as a consequence we started to sell more eggs. This uptrend continued, and in October that's where we hit our highest revenue, which is 3,270 bucks. This was because the chickens that we had gotten started to produce more as well. So this was pretty exciting, but it wasn't long after that we started to lose chickens. We lost 18 chickens in November, and as you can see, the consequence of that is that we had a dip in December in our revenue generated. So we closed off December with 2,600 rands, and this was of course due to the loss that we took in terms of with our chickens. So all in all, this is our revenue, And when it comes to the actual eggs, we were able to sell 4,368 eggs. Pretty exciting. I mean, this is a big number when you really think about how small our business is, but we were actually able to produce that amount of eggs. So now I want to speak on the expenses. This touches on what we need to spend money on a month-to-month basis, right? So we have to spend, money on our employee salary. We need to make sure that we replace the wood shaving. We need to get poultry feed. We need to get supplements. We also need to get packaging, and we also need to take care of transportation as well as the monthly banking fee for our business account. So those are our actual recurring month-to-month expenses. So if you are looking to start a poultry farm yourself, I think this should give you an idea of what to expect to spend money on a month-to-month basis. But what is really cool is that as we have been going through this journey, we have been able to see how the business has been able to take care of itself. And what I mean by that is that the business is at a point where it is taking care of its expenses with the money that gets generated on a month-to-month basis. So we don't have to spend money, into the business at this point in time. We are looking to expand. We are looking to get more chickens. We want to at least get to 200 chickens by the first quarter of this year. This is going to require us to go back to the drawing board because at this point in time, we actually have a proof of concept. We can see that the business is able to run on itself. We can see that we were able to end the year off on a profit. And we did sustain a couple of losses due to the chickens dying, and that resulted in our income being inconsistent for the business. But all in all, I think the fact that we came out positive in our business for 2024, it's not bad. Do consider liking this video and do consider subscribing to this channel as well if you are looking for more content from me. So we'll see you next time. All right, cheers.